Hello, welcome to He's Up if Something is Off with me, just Joey T. Oh man, I know in last week's podcast, the first thing I said in that episode was, I'm tired. I'm still so tired. Today's been okay. It's Wednesday as I record this. I supposed to have been a gym day, but I decided yesterday that I probably wasn't going to go to the gym today because yesterday was supposed to be my break from the gym day. So right now I'm 2 days at the gym and then 1 day off, 2 on, 1 off. And yesterday was my regular off day after going to the gym the 2 days before that. And it was just, my brain was mush yesterday. I've been working on this other business. Yes, it will launch soon and I'll get you guys the info and the whole world can start knowing about it. But I've been working on the marketing. Well, I'm kind of sort of just working on every aspect of it a little bit here and there. Yesterday, I was trying to focus on some of the marketing, and I wanted some clever, funny-ish taglines and one-liners for the marketing to post in Instagram or on the website or in ads or whatever. But I'm not a comedian. I can't write jokes. I'm not a funny person. So, but I had this idea that the brand was supposed to be fun and I wanted, catchy, kind of funny one-liners from like the zeitgeist of pop culture from the last 10, 20 years or so. I don't know why I chose such a difficult marketing concept and brand voice for the company. When I do manage to come up with some passable copy, some passable one-liners, some passable things, lines, or whatever for the marketing, I'm quite proud of myself, but it would take me a day and a half to write one line that's decent. So yesterday, I was trying to work on the marketing and trying to come up with these lines, and my brain just literally went to mush. I was messaging a friend. I was like, my brain is like mashed potatoes right now. Today, I decided, yesterday, I decided that today I probably wasn't going to go to the gym, and I didn't go to the gym. But today, I also spent just a whole day so far working on just the work stuff, but I stopped working on the marketing and the social media copies, and I working on to what some other people are more mundane things. So I'm working on things that are on the website, the contact information on the website, the terms and conditions, the privacy policy, which for most people is just like the most boring shit. But I was having a lot more fun working on that than trying to come up with some cute, funny marketing taglines. So among some other stuff, just lots of tiny little things. Getting the support. I have this ticketing system that I tried out, and it's I'm implementing it like an IT thing, and I have the IT background. So it has been a much more productive day, and I'm just basically working on the website. One thing that I basically discovered, well, I kind of knew this might have been the case for like a little while, but I just confirmed is I want to sell my products on Amazon, and due to the unique way I created my Amazon account, and because of how complicated Amazon systems are, I right now can't list my products on Amazon. There's like a technical limitation, and I have to wait till the next time I order more stock from the manufacturer, and then that new stock will have to be shipped in a slightly different way. And when that happens, I have to switch everything over to a second Amazon account, and then I'll be able to list my products on Amazon. But at least for right now, I'm working on the website, and then the items will be purchasable from the website, and it's going to be integrated into Instagram. And I haven't tested it yet, but it should work on Instagram. You can tag products on an Instagram post, and you get like a little shopping thing you can tap on, and then you can actually buy the products without leaving Instagram. So there's an integration there that I'm setting up, but that should be working. That's one of the next things I'm gonna test out pretty soon. And apparently you can, if you have Amazon Prime, it's the US thing. So if you're not from the US, just cover your ears for a bit. Amazon Prime is a big thing in the US, and apparently you can you can make it so that on your website, people can use their Amazon Prime membership and use those Prime benefits to buy an item on your own website when the thing isn't even listed on Amazon. So I just set that up today. So that's kind of like partially compensates for not having my product on the Amazon website proper. Is at least someone who likes using Amazon Prime. They have an Amazon Prime membership. They want the extra fast delivery and the free shipping that comes with that. At least when they're on my website trying to buy my thing, they'll see, oh, this website supports purchasing with Amazon Prime. I can still get my Prime shipping benefits by even though this thing isn't on the Amazon website, it's on its own solo private website. So anyways, yes, I know I've been talking a lot about the business. That's all I've been working on. That was like the main focus of the month. The OnlyFans stuff, which is like the other business, has been, you can't ever put content creation on a back burner completely. You can kind of sort of pre-schedule and you can pre-make content, and I do make content in batches, and I try to build a backlog of content so that I have content no matter what happens for like the next at least like the few weeks, if not like 1 or 2 months ideally. And I can upload that. I can upload like multiple weeks of content in advance, and I can pre-schedule for things to post in the future, so that like every week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something for the next 6 weeks, things would just post automatically, right? So you can do that, but you can't just you can't ignore it forever, but that's been on the back burner a little bit. But next week I'm going to New York, and I'm going to be able to work on some new content, hopefully. So in a way, that's a work trip. Honestly, I'm only going for content creation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have that trip would have happened at all. But I'm gonna try to squeeze some vacation moments out of that New York trip. I'm only there for literally 4 days, 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 full days that I'm there. But I've been on a plane in a while, so it was nice just to be like on a plane. I like traveling. Just the act of flying, I think, is kind of fun. And I'll do the content creation, and then hopefully have, like the downtime I have at night. I think I might have 1 or maybe 2. I might have like a day where at the very end, where once I've done all the content creation, I can just have like a day in New York to do whatever. There are a couple of friends in New York that I want to catch up with that I haven't seen in a while. So yeah, something to look forward to, even though it's a work trip. So there you go. I just got the Instagram kind of sort of set up for the first business. And I just started putting some posts onto it. No one knows about the Instagram, obviously, because no one even knows about. I messaged some friends, like some close friends, but I've been so sheltered in my house for most of this year. Like, I've taken some trips and traveled and done some of that. But outside of I think I've gone on a couple of trips this year, 2 or 3 trips this year. That's it. Those are all like content creation trips. Outside of that, I've literally just been staying at home working or going to the gym. And I haven't really hung out with friends. David comes every once in a while, but I don't really hang out. I'm not really hanging out with doing anything right now. I just need to get this thing launched. Like October is the month. October is the launch. So in September, this month was supposed to be the big push. And I definitely not the easiest thing. And there are some just roadblocks that will pop up out of a blind corner out of nowhere. But I'm quite encouraged. I mean, we only have about 5 or 6 days left in the month, but I'm quite encouraged by the progress I'm making. There have been some setbacks, like not being able to sell on Amazon, which was, from the get-go, I wanted to sell things on Amazon in addition to on the website and also on Instagram. But despite, some roadblocks, some setbacks, I'm encouraged by the launch, and it'll be a soft launch. I still need to figure out how to run ads and how to run ad campaigns on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, all those things. And again, I'm not a marketing person. I don't know how to run ads. I need to figure it out. But for right now, it's just building up the basics so that we can even just have a functional website, so that the ordering works, so that returns get handled properly, so that when people have questions, they can get answers. If they need some sort of guidance on which products would be the best for them, there should be, something for that. So that's kind of sort of the stage I'm at. And once those basics are figured out, then I will spend more time on, okay, website's done. The help system is there. The ordering is in place. I've tested the shipping and all that kind of stuff. It works well. Now we can focus more on marketing and specifically running ads and how to get the word of mouth out there. So it's all coming. Okay. Oh my goodness. It's my entire life right now is that. And it's like, it's not even making any money yet, but to start a business that is just the life that you live, is just, you have to be pretty dedicated to doing it. And I'm not in a position to spend any money to hire anyone yet, not until we get some revenue coming in. But I'll let you know sometime in October we should be launching. As I get more and more work done on it, I have more and more confidence that we will do a soft launch, a limited launch. It'll be open to the public sometime in October. There you go. Switching topics. There's one question that popped up recently in the comments for one of my older gay cruise videos. It's a video I did, I think it's back in 2018, maybe 2019, where it was called Gay Cruise Myths. That's 5 years ago. I should probably update some of those, except I don't have time. But anyways, Prince Stephen Dew commented on this video and said, "Hi, Joey. I have never experienced the gay cruise ever in my life, but I'm gay. Is there any suggestion, or should I get a job on the cruise? Can you give me some advice?" Okay. So when you suggested that you get a job on the cruise, I'm going to infer that possibly there are some monetary concerns, because cruises, let's face it, are quite expensive. And if you work on a cruise, well, you're kind of sort of doing it for free. I have had people ask me randomly once in a while, "Oh, how do I volunteer for Atlantis?" like you've done before. So they have a selection process, because as you can imagine, quite a few gays probably wouldn't mind getting a free cruise in exchange for volunteering to work on it. So it is the one and only perk of volunteering for Atlantis. Is the Team Atlantis is what it's called. Because yes, you are on the cruise for free, but you're there to work, and you don't get paid for anything. So that's why it's called a volunteer position. So it is fun to work the cruise. However, they don't need that many people in the pool of Team Atlantis volunteers to run their cruises. On an average cruise, they have anywhere from roughly 12 to 16 volunteers, Team Atlantis volunteers that are on each cruise. And they don't have cruises every week of the month of the year. They only have something like 6 or 8 or so cruises a year. And yeah, each cruise takes somewhere like 12 to 18 volunteers. So they don't need a huge pool of volunteers. They do take new members on every so often, but there's not a really high churn in the number of people in the volunteer pool. I always see whenever I'm on a ship, either as a paying guest or when I volunteer and I'm part of the team, I always see a lot of familiar faces. There are a lot of people within the pool there are veterans that have been working the cruises, 5, 10, 15, 20 times, even more than that. So there's not a lot of churn in that. And they're not looking for a lot of new people most of the time, to be honest, because of that, there's not a lot of churn. They don't need a whole ton of people in that pool. So I wouldn't say you should work on a cruise. I don't think you should work on a cruise just to do it for free, because I've done it only about 4 or 5 times. The Team Atlantis volunteer, I've only done it 4 or 5 times, I think, and it's not the most difficult work, but it's a lot of customer service, and you do need to know how to firefight. And a lot of the activities that go on around the ship, they don't magically happen. And there's a big team of people that are putting on a lot of these parties and events and shows and coordinating things in the back that the regular guests, the passengers, just don't see. So part of being the Team Atlantis is you have to kind of sort of help out in all of that. And it's one of those things where, you have a set schedule, but the entire time that you're on the ship, even if you're not actively working somewhere on a shift, you're representing Atlantis, and you need to behave yourself pretty much at all times. So, basically, I don't recommend you trying to work or volunteer for a cruise just to get on it for free, because it's not as free as it sounds. You are there to work. There is work to be done, and you do need to be professional. You do need to do things. You can't just party. People have gone in trouble for that before. Anyways, but yeah, cruises. Aside from that, cruises are expensive, and just like vacations generally, if you're gonna go take a vacation abroad, I mean, vacations abroad where you have to travel, like fly somewhere, go to a different continent, and a cruise goes to all sorts of different places. Those are always going to be expensive, right? So I think the way you can see a cruise, at least in terms of the value it delivers, is you can go on a cruise and basically not spend any money on a cruise, and it's pretty much all inclusive. I mentioned in a somewhat recent podcast, maybe it's a couple months ago already, but the cruise industry has been seeing a lot of demand, kind of not just since the rebound of the end of COVID, like kind of 2022 into 2023, where all travel basically was kind of, all sorts of travel was very, very popular because people have stopped being cooped up in their houses, and there's so much stimulus from the various governments around the world. People had cash, people had money, and now that the world is opening up, all they want to do is be anywhere that's not home. So people travel tons and tons and tons. And that's kind of normalized a little bit by now. However, the cruise industry is still seeing quite a lot of demand. I think air travel, like airports, some airports are back to pre-pandemic, some aren't. Air travel generally, it's in has decent passenger numbers. But I think compared to pre-pandemic, it's kind of sort of matched up now. But I think the cruise demand is greater than pre-pandemic right now, the last time I checked the numbers. So prices have been going up as a result. It takes many years to get a new cruise ship. They're all specially designed for each cruise line and things like that. It's not just like you go to Boeing or Airbus and just buy a plane. I mean, not that you can really buy a plane if you're an airline right now anyways. That's a whole other issue. But prices are going up, and there's not really more capacity to go around for all the extra people that want to go on a cruise. So I think the only way I can be helpful right now is to maybe give you some advice for how to go on a cruise in the most cost-effective way possible. So let's say you want to go on a cruise, but what can you do to make a gay cruise as inexpensive as possible? Okay. So here we go. Some tips. Go with people. Share a room with as many people as possible. So usually on a cruise, most rooms are double occupancy, and that extends to the prices you see listed for most rooms. Most rooms, there might be a room on an Atlantis cruise, and it's advertised as, oh, it's $1,800. Okay, that's the price before taxes and fees and stuff that you would pay if you also share the room with another person and they were also paying the $1,800, right? So that's what I mean by the prices are double occupancy prices. Now, there are some rooms on most cruises where you can even squeeze a third person in. So if you actually go into one of the cruise lines website and you look at the deck plans for just pick any ship, on the deck plans, the map of each deck on the cruise ships, they're actually, you would see as some of the rooms, quite a lot of the rooms actually, will be marked as being able to take a third person or even a fourth person, right? So the more people you can fit into a room, the cheaper the room will be per person, okay? So getting a room by yourself is really a luxury. Most people do have someone else that they will room with, 2 people to a room. If you can get a third person to squeeze into the room, obviously it's going to be a little less comfortable because you have more people in this tiny room. However, that's one way to save quite a bit of money. And honestly, when you're on a cruise ship, there's so much to do that you don't hang out in your room that much. If you want to just hang out, you can hang out anywhere on the ship. There's a million places on the ship where you can hang out no matter what time of day or night it is. So your room is mostly for sleeping, getting ready, changing, somewhere for you to have some privacy. If you need to hook up, you can go to the other guy's room to hook up. You can't hook up in your room because you've got 2 roommates. But yeah, if you can get a third roommate, that will bring down the cost for all 3 of you, for sure. The second thing is book the cruise as early in advance as you can, okay? Because the later you wait to book a cruise, 2 things happen. The rates for the rooms go up over time, little by little. So the earlier you book, the better. The second thing is the cruise will fill up. Now, some cruises will eventually sell out. Earlier this year, I went through, I think it was in the summertime, 2 or 3 months ago, I went through all the different cruises that were coming up with Atlantis, and I also gave my opinion, my very educated, informed opinion on which cruises would sell out and which ones wouldn't. Okay, so even if a cruise isn't predicted to sell out, even if it's predicted to be a less popular cruise, rates will usually still go up near the end, unless that cruise is really bombed and they are desperate to have people fill up the cabins at the last minute. But usually, most cruises that Atlantis, for example, offers, most of them will fill up either near capacity or they will be sold out a few months in advance. Okay, so the earlier you can commit to a cruise, the cheaper it will be. For Atlantis specifically, probably the best thing you can do is sign up for their newsletter, which is the sign up just pops up in your face when you visit their website. I hate websites when they do that. But sign up for the newsletter. They don't send that many emails. It might just be 1 a month or something like that. It's not that spammy. And that's how you can get notified when different cruises, different new cruises are announced and when those cruises actually go on sale and if they have any offers on any of those cruises that are coming up. But the earlier that you book, the better you can kind of get the lowest rate. Now, the other advantage of booking relatively early for a cruise is you can take advantage of the installment options that Atlantis offers. You can also book a cruise with a travel agent, but then the payment installments are probably going to be partially dependent on the travel agent. But let's stick to just what Atlantis offers themselves. You book directly with Atlantis using the Atlantis website. When you book a cruise, usually, if you try to book a cruise only 1 or 2 months out, there's not going to be that many different payment installment options because you're only 4 to 6 weeks away from the cruise. But as an example, for the February cruise coming up in 2025, the big party cruise that I always talk about, I booked that back in like March of this year. I booked like 11 months out. That's roughly about as early as or April or something like that. 10 or 11 months before. That's about as early as you can really book a cruise, almost a year out. And when you have that much time left to go between when you book and when the cruise actually sets sail, you have the most amount of different payment plans available to you from Atlantis. So you can do like a few different things. It varies a little bit depending on the cruise and exactly how much time is remaining before the cruise sets sail and when you book it. But I remember there was an option to pay for the whole cruise right away. There was a way to pay the whole cost over 2 separate payments. Like I'll pay like a deposit now, then I'll pay like another amount later. There's an option to pay it over 3 installments. So one deposit now, and the other one in like a few months, and then another one as we get closer to the cruise. And there was also one where I could pay basically a payment every month. So it almost like a monthly installment plan. So between now when the cruise is, at the time of the booking, I'll pay a small deposit. Then every month between now and the month of the cruise, I'll pay like X amount. So sometimes it's a little easier to pay for something when you can pay for it little by little by little, because you might have the cash flow over 6 or 9 or 12 months with the paychecks coming in to pay like, $100 or $200 or whatever every month for it. But you can't afford to just drop like $2,000 all at once on your credit card, right? So the earlier you book, the more of these installment options that you have to pay for a cruise a little bit at a time so that it's more manageable, and that way it might be more affordable. Now, finally, when you do get on the cruise though, there's 2 things you need. If you don't live where the cruise is going to set sail, you're going to need to fly there, obviously, or you need to get, you probably need to fly. You need to get to wherever the cruise terminal is in whatever city it is. And you might need to pay for a hotel the night before the cruise sets sail. So if the cruise is going to set sail on like a Sunday, ideally you want to fly in on the Saturday and then stay in a hotel Saturday night. Sunday morning, you wake up, you check out a hotel, you go to the cruise port, you board the cruise, everything's cool. The other thing is, on board the cruise, there's a lot of opportunities to spend money, and the cruise line makes it so that people are very tempted to spend money. So just some money saving tips for these 2 things as well. Okay. I've always advocated you should, as much as possible, whenever possible, fly in the night or the day before the cruise sets sail, because in case the flight gets delayed or something like that, you fly in the morning of the cruise and your flight's delayed, there's a chance you might miss the cruise. And if you're not there when the cruise is supposed to set sail, they don't usually wait unless they have some other reason to delay pushing off from the pier, like they're still loading luggage or some other logistics things. But if you have like 1 or 2 or 3 passengers who don't show up by the time the cruise is supposed to push back, and there's no other reason holding the ship back, they're not going to wait for you. Because for almost every cruise ship, there's people that just don't show up, right? Just like on almost every, on a lot of air trips, plane trips, there are passengers that don't show up for the flight, right? It's just part of travel. They're not going to wait for you, basically. So, however, look at where you need to fly to and when you need to be at the pier by, especially in some cities where hotels are more expensive, you could think about maybe doing a red-eye flight so that you get there the morning of and you still have like at least hopefully like a few or several hours cushion between when you're supposed to land and when you need to be at the pier. If you live relatively close to where the ship is supposed to set sail, maybe, this is risky though, maybe you could get away with doing a very early morning flight to wherever you need to get to take the cruise. And that way you save on the cost of the hotel the night before. It's risky, you've been warned, but it's possible. Okay, and same for flights. The earlier you can book a flight, the cheaper it's going to be. Trying to book a flight last minute, the cost of skyrockets, and some of the flights might be full already, so you don't have as many options. So look into flights as early as you can. You can go to like Google Flights, for example, and set price alerts so you can see when is the cheapest time to book flights and try to save some money that way as well. If you have credit cards that earn airline miles or points, you know, you can kind of plan that out as well. Try to use some of your miles and points to help with all or part of the cost of the flight, and that will reduce the impact on your wallet. Okay, when you're on board, they will charge for everything. There are certain restaurants that are free. I mean, this is where it pays to be a basic bitch, okay? Like me, I don't drink that much, and I just go to the buffet, and the buffet is free and is all you can eat. So if you're not a picky eater and you're not a foodie, and you can kind of moderate, maybe you don't drink, which would be great, or you can at least moderate your alcohol consumption and not have too many drinks, then you could actually spend very little money when you're on board on the cruise. Just avoid buying things. Like, it's relatively easy for me to avoid buying things. Like, I have done cruises where I've not spent any money on board, like literally no money, because there have been some times where like I just don't drink, and I never go to any of the restaurant options that charge money. I always go to the main dining hall, which is free. I go to the buffet, which is free. There might be like some like snacks places or like the pizza place is free. And that's all I eat. But I'm not a foodie and I'm not super picky about what I eat, so I can get away with that. And I don't go to like the Starbucks and get coffee usually. I don't have to go to the smoothie bar and get a smoothie. Like I don't go to the spa. I don't get massages. You know, like I don't go shopping on a ship, believe you me. So as long as you can resist the temptation to go shopping and to get super drunk and buy way too much alcohol, or to go to any of the specialty or paid restaurants, then you will save a lot of money. I don't get the Wi-Fi because most ships don't come with free Wi-Fi. You have to pay for the Wi-Fi. You don't really super need the Wi-Fi. It'd be so much cheaper to get a roaming SIM card for like 10 or 15 bucks. And then whenever the ship docks at one of the ports of call, you can just take your phone off of airplane mode. You get bars from wherever you're docked while the ship is docked, and you can kind of leash some internet to like check your emails or post whatever, but you don't really need like internet Wi-Fi the whole time you're on the ship, honestly. So those are some tips for if you want to go on a cruise, but budget-wise, it seems quite expensive and not sure you can do it. Get extra roommates. Plan the cruise well in advance so that you get the cheaper rates. Look into the installment plans that will be offered to you when you try to book the cruise. Start looking into flights. Set price alerts for flights so that you can get the cheapest flights possible to get you to the city where you need to go to take the cruise. If you do decide to book a hotel the night before and fly the day before, which I still highly recommend, even if you're on a budget, set price alerts for that as well. You have credit card points, airline miles, hotel points, things like that you can use, that you can maybe like try to save up a little bit. Maybe you want to look into a credit card that earns you points. If you have a credit card that doesn't do anything for you, there are free credit cards, 0 annual fee credit cards that will earn points that can help offset some of the costs of the flights and the hotels that you will need to get there and also fly back home. There are easy ways to not spend that much money on board. It does take some restraint, not going to fancy restaurants, not getting tons of alcohol, not going shopping when you're on the cruise, not getting the Wi-Fi, things like that. So yeah, and I'm always happy to answer any questions you guys have about cruises or even about traveling in general, especially air travel, because I fly so much. I love flying. And I have a lot of credit cards, not because I need the credit, but I'm very into like miles and points or things like that. I'm not like the absolute most pro with like the miles and points game, but I feel like I'm definitely above average compared to like the average person. I would say I'm like intermediate on that, and probably more so than most of my friends in terms of like earning miles on credit cards and just buying everyday things, and then how to best spend those points on flights or hotels, on trips and things like that. So there you go. And the next time you hear me on this podcast, I will already be in New York, and I'll have an episode for y'all or record it at home. I think I fly on Wednesday, I think. So I'll record before I fly out next week's episode, and it'll be all cute and posted for you guys. And then in 2 weeks' time, you will hopefully hear from me on this podcast and episode about my adventures in New York. But until next time, bye, y'all.